Oh, yeah.
All right, all right. So let's open up in prayer, and then we are going to get at it. All right, so Father, right now we thank you for this time, this gathering, Lord God. We are seeking for your wisdom, your understanding on how to be good stewards of the vision in which you've given us. Help us, Lord God, to be diligent, to be detailed, to proceed forward, Lord God, giving you all the honor, glory, and praise, Father. But help us to transform our communities through the businesses that you are giving to us. Father, it's a great privilege to be called by you. Father, let us not be distracted. Let us not get weary in well-doing. We ask for your strength and your grace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right, so from the last time that we met together, I got to ask this question. Do we have any new business owners in the room? That is the question. The question is, do we have any new business owners? Anybody who made that trip up to Baltimore, who filled out the paperwork online, who started their business? Do we have any new ones in the room? All right, so what's your official
So
date?
I did this again.
Okay.
The second time.
This is the second time you did it online.
But the government shutdown prevented my other situation
Okay.
when I did it the first time.
All right, so you sent your paperwork in. So this,
Paperwork sent, and I just gotta wait for the EIN number to come in.
okay. EIN. You get your EIN on IRS.gov.
Ah.
So you can do that once you get your paperwork back.
Oh, yeah. It
From
comes
there.
back and it has the number and everything.
And yeah, and they have it'll be notarized things like that. So that's probably gonna take about 6 weeks from when you put in the paperwork. So before the end of our last session, you will be a new business owner. Whoop whoop! All right. Anybody else ready to take the leap? Take the leap. She's like, no. All right. So that's.
I'm shifting. Y'all shifting me to ministry, so that's what.
Well, same thing.
Same thing.
You got to put in your paperwork to become incorporated, even if you are. What's up, brother? Even if you are being a nonprofit or ministry, you have to incorporate.
Well, I need
Any organization that incorporates.
About doing a parachurch, so I'll see what that is like.
A meeting about doing a parachurch.
A parachurch alongside. And I don't know why it's called a parachurch, but it's not establishing a church. It's ministry, but it's pretty much going to be, not pretty much going to be. It is a, I don't want to call it a school because it's going to be it's going to be apostolic training academy.
Whatever you're doing, whether it's parachurch, a church,
So I have to find
a new LLC, a law firm, whatever it might be.
Yeah, but I have to find out I'm finding out what the process is for that. And I'm
Find out what the process. The process always.
concerning parachurch, whether or not I need to do that part with myself or was it alongside of?
You can do it by yourself. Every organization has to start in the state of Maryland, in Baltimore. Whether you're doing a nonprofit, ministry, LLC, C Corp, S Corp, does not matter. We'll talk about it today. You begin in Baltimore, Maryland. You have to fill out that paperwork because everything that's an organization is incorporated with the state. So no matter what it is.
So I had already got an EIN number, so that's
So your yes. So your EIN number is saying my corporation needs a social security number. Okay? And so you can get an EIN number, but if you don't have an incorporation, then the state is going to look at it like it's a sole proprietor, and they're going to use your social security number no matter what.
Okay.
Even if you got this EIN number. Now, once you become incorporated.
So right now, since I'm sole proprietor, I just need the EIN. I don't have to go to if I.
So if you're just being a sole proprietor, all you need is a social security number. You're operating just like that, and then when you go to the bank, you tell them I want to do business as or DBA,
Right.
and set up another account, that's coming in there. But if the dangers of being a sole proprietor and not being incorporated at least with an LLC means that if somebody were to ever sue you, they have access to anything that your social security number is attached to. So that means that you got a car, you got a home, you get a new location and you using your name and stuff like that. Everything that's attached to it, your livelihood, they can come after. And the reason why people just establish these LLCs is because they say, only what the business is doing you can attack. You can't attack my home, you can't attack my cars, you can't attack anything that is personally connected to my social security number. And that's why it's critical to have that LLC. Yes?
So, with that being said, like, can you start out as a sole proprietor and then generate some business? And once you build your business, transfer over to a LLC? And if you can, what is the process of doing that?
So what you do is, at that point, when you're ready, so let's use yours, get it right, get it tight. You're branding that, but right now it's a sole proprietor. Let's assume it's a sole proprietor. And you're doing that. As you're branding that, you're making money, you're generating funds, you want to set up an account with the bank, doing business as get it right, get it tight. So somebody writes you a check to get it right, get it tight, you can put it into that account. But right now, everything's connected to your social security number. Even if you want to IRS.gov and got an EIN. Okay? Now, the moment you say, hey, I don't want this stuff attached to my social security number anymore, what you do is you're going up to Baltimore, you're getting that, filling that one-page LLC document. Then once you do that, get incorporated, things of that nature, you incorporate that name as the same one. So you let them know it's get it right, get it tight. So once you finish doing that, then you jump on the IRS.gov and you get your EIN. After you get your EIN from IRS.gov, then you go to the bank and you say, here's my LLC paperwork. Here's my new EIN number. This is the new business that I'm starting. I want it all under here. And so now you're starting to do things. So when you go get credit, you put money in the bank, things of that nature, you're getting credit, you're giving them the EIN number as the creditor. Not the creditor, but the person that is asking for credit as that business. And you're starting to build the credit of the business. Totally separate to everything that's connected to your social security number. So once you incorporate, then you start switching everything that you're doing under there and start removing things out of your social security number. Okay? All right, so this is, and we're actually talking about this today. We're going to be dealing with your company structure, your legal structure, your intellectual property, and this is what we're discussing right now is your legal structure. So somebody said, man, I was working out with Get It Right, Get It Tight, and I slipped on some ice while I was doing some planks or something. I don't know. It's, you know what? I don't know. Your elbow was on the ice, you just slipped. You pulled a muscle. And I don't want to do that. You want to make sure you have your LLC at that point. That's what it literally means. Limited Liability Corporation. It limits the liability against you because it's a corporation.
I have a question. Is that the same thing as having insurance?
No, it's not the same thing as having insurance. So now when you go and get your insurance, you're going to get it for that company. And what your insurance is saying is, if somebody were to ever attack me, I want you to represent me. And so the insurance company say, all right, well, I'll represent you up to $1 million per incident. And then they'll have subsequent things. So they have it like if you, one of the things that we have at the ministry is for counseling. So if I'm counseling someone, I'm usually coaching them, and they try to come after me for that, there's a separate line item that deals with the amount that it can go up to if someone is suing us or things of that nature. So that's how that you have to, and you pay like a monthly amount, just like a car insurance or whatever, in case anything happened with this business.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Who's driving the Chevy Cruze?
Yeah. So I'll answer your question when you get back. All right. So any others? All right. You guys ready to dive in? Let's do this. First thing we always want to start off with is the mission of Love Truth. Our goal is to create leaders who impact faith, families, and finances in our community.
That's a great mission. I need that one.
So this is our mission. All we're doing is creating leaders. Every single one of you are a leader. Every single one of you have influence, and we want to make sure that your influence is sharpened and heightened in these three areas. We want to make sure that your faith is strong. We want to make sure that your families are strong. We want to make sure that your finances are strong, because that's going to help us in our communities. That's our focus. That's why we have business planning workshop. Why? Because this business planning workshop is going to definitely test your faith. It's definitely going to bring your family together. If you are married, you are in business together. I guarantee it. There's no way you can be separate with that. And it's going to help with your finances, okay? And that is going to help build our community. So that's what we're always doing. Everything that you see Love Truth doing, that is our goal. Is to make sure that as a leader, you're getting stronger in these three areas. Okay? All right? So we talked about it last time when we met on August the 10th. We dealt with the overall business, how to get that together. We dealt with your management team last time. Just open, just push it open. So we dealt with the management team, set up the structure for that. This week we're going to be dealing with your company structure. We're going to be dealing with intellectual property and your ownerships. And then we'll end talking about the industry analysis. So what you'll need to have as a part of your research on how well your business, the potential that your business has because of your surrounding area, okay? Understanding your industry. Because a lot of people, God called me to do this, and so I'm going for it. Okay, that's great. But if you think you'll be making $1 million, only 10,000 people live in that area, either, hopefully those people got a lot of money, and you get every single one putting that money to your business. Because that's the only way it's going to happen. Okay? So, then, in 2 weeks, we're going to deal with your marketing plans, deal with your operations, and then the last time we get together, September 21st, we'll deal with your financial plan, your critical risk factors, also dealing with your appendix, all the documentation that you need to go with it, as well as the executive summary, okay? Bringing all this together. So we dealt with this. I'm just going to run through this quickly because we went through this last time, just in case you need to put your bullet points for that. The business. We talked about you got to write down, understand your opportunity, the description of your business, what's going to make you different, your competitive advantage, as well as your current status and your requirements. We also went over your management team, what's the difference between a board of directors, board of advisors, and the key professional services that you will need in your business. So everybody remember that? If you don't remember, guess what? You can download our app. I uploaded the video from last time. You can go through and look at the notes. Okay? Marvelous. All right, so today we're going to dive into company structure. Okay? So let's deal with your organizational structure. Okay? Let me ask you a question and see how many people got their hands up. How do people have an organizational chart? Organizational chart. Let me say it differently. How many people are pretty much the business? So you're everything in your organizational chart. That's what I figured. Okay, so here's the good thing about that is you get to set the tone on what your on every group of your organizational chart, but you need to start thinking about the breakdown of what roles and responsibilities that you need to start passing off of your plate. Okay? The issue becomes if you are everything and I want to be everything and you try to keep it all, there's no way that you can grow a large organization by yourself. Okay? A very good case study is if you ever get a chance to research the McDonald's brothers. Okay? The McDonald's brothers started McDonald's in California. If you guys don't want to research it, watch the movie The Founder. It's really good. It will show you what happens and what's the difference between when you try to do everything and then when you understand how to duplicate and use other people's skill sets and creating a team to get something done. Okay? So in that, the McDonald's brothers was really good at setting up a structure. They were really, they were precise. At this time, most individuals, when they were there was no such thing as fast food. You will pull up to a restaurant, they will bring you out regular plates and silverware, and they would have like meatloaf and steak dinners, and they would bring it to your car. So imagine you eating like fine china inside of your vehicle during this time where McDonald's was starting up. McDonald's had the mindset of, look, if I'm in my car, I need you to be much more efficient in how you're producing this food. So it would take forever. If you went to go out to eat, it was like you were just sitting down at a restaurant in your car. It would take them a very long time to produce the food. And every location was different. So even if it was a chain, they had different types of cooks. They didn't have like a setting on making sure that you had the same type of experience at every single location. Well, the McDonald brothers were good at setting up this structure. So they understood, they gave the same number of squirts of ketchup, mustard on the hamburger. They were meticulous on how to do it, okay? And most people have long lines, and they were saying, man, it doesn't take long to go in there and get your food. And that's what they did. They walked up, got it, so on and so forth, and they were good. Well, this guy, Ray Kroc, saw what they had. And they only had this one location, and I think they expanded to 3. They expanded 3 locations, but the McDonald's brothers were so concerned about making sure that everything happened the way that they wanted it to happen and that they had the oversight of it, that they didn't want to expand too far. So when Ray Kroc said, hey, we're in California, let's build one in Arizona, and they were like, why would we want to build one in Arizona? I'm not driving to Arizona to check in on what's happening. How will they be able to do what I'm doing while I'm still here in California? Ray Kroc had the idea of franchising. He had the idea of putting other people in charge and training them how to do it. The McDonald's brothers could not see that. Ray Kroc is the one that expanded them across the world and eventually bought out the McDonald's brothers. Yes. And so really, he really ended up buying the name McDonald's and stuck with it. But he's the one that saw, look, you need teams. You need to duplicate this everywhere else. Okay? And then he's the one that actually thought of the idea of, I'm not selling just this franchise. I'm in the real estate business. I'm selling this location. I'm choosing the locations because I've done the research and know that this is the best spot for it to go. So, don't be small-minded. Don't just say, I only want to do what I can handle. You have to expand your mindset of, I have to lead leaders. I don't need to lead followers. Because leading a follower, they have to always come back to you and ask you, what is the next step? They won't move without you giving them some form of direction. A leader, you can give them a vision and they can come up with the steps and understand how to lead other people to do it. Okay? That's what you want to create. Okay? So, I said all that to say, what are the key factors that we talked about last time of the top part of your business? So, and they all started with C's.
CEO,
You got your CEO,
COO,
your COO, CFO,
CIO.
CIO. Yeah, and sometimes they call them VPs. But typically you have these areas. You usually have like your lead person, your executor. So this is chief executive officer. Chief Operating Officer, who's dealing with the day-to-day, making sure that operations go well. You got your Chief Financial Officer that's looking at all the finances. CIO is your Chief Information Officer, who's the individual that's looking at how do you create the proper systems and manage it from technology standpoint. Then you have some form of sales group. You got some form, and that sales group, sometimes people bring these together, but here are the three main areas that you want to deal with. You sometimes have sales, marketing, and then advertising. Some of y'all might be like, what is the difference? Okay? Your sales team understands your product and is getting more clients to come in. Your marketing team does the research on the people that you're going after. And they feed the sales team with information on the type of people and the way that they operate. So they deal with focus groups and understanding what is the thought process of the world during that time. What's the way that they can understand and get information the best way? Okay? And so they're looking at it from, they come up more with like the macro strategic way of how they digest information about your business. Your advertising group gets that information as well, and they are the individuals that come up with the actual products that helps the sales team to go out. So they put stuff on Facebook, and they do the TV. They're the ones that produce the TV ads. The marketing team came up with the strategy and the info about the market. And then after somebody sees something on those TV ads, things of that nature, then the sales team is the one that's picking up the phone when they're calling in to make sure they understand, happy that they're here. They're the ones that's like the front-facing customer service piece. Okay? And then sometimes people have separate customer service groups that once, after the sales team closes the sale, they're dealing with the experience that the customer's having while they're continually using your product. And they're bringing their complaints and things of that nature, and the customer service team is letting the marketing and advertisers know what type of complaints they're getting, letting the sales team know, hey, this is what we're hearing about that. Let them know that this is how you get around that when you're doing your pitch. The customer service should also be feeding information to the chief operating officer, saying, hey, in operations, this is what we're seeing. People are getting a whole lot of dye on their hands every time they get a product. We need to come up with a better way of creating our product. And then the CFO was like, all right, well, that's going to cost us more money to do that, so on and so forth. So it should always be a continual communication loop to perfect your product. Okay? So you have to determine what's the best place for you. Now, most people say, I should be the CEO. I should be overseeing those who handle operations. And you might not have this many people. One person might be the sales, marketing, advertising, and customer service because of how many clients you have. Okay? Sometimes I've seen people where even though they started the company, they like being an operation officer. Because they're engineers, so they love making stuff. And so they realize, my thing is not leading the overall company. I still own the shares, or I'm still generating a lot of money, but this is the best fit for me. Some people are just really good at finances. Some people are not. And so you have to be honest with yourself. As you're setting up your organizational chart, you need to be pinpointing what is your ultimate landing point for yourself. And then what are the key skill sets and people that you need to search out to get to fill the other roles so that your company operates with. This is a very humbling process. Okay? The people that are most truthful with themselves will have the best companies. People who operate this part of the organization and try to offer their ego have a chance of derailing their company. Okay? We just covered a lot. Any questions from me?
Would you recommend that an owner hold both CEO and COO roles?
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you're holding both roles. You don't have to have these roles. If you're going to hold it, you might call yourself the CEO and don't have a COO, but you do what the operations person would do. Now, if your company gets large enough, you might say, I need to shift operations away from you. But you might be doing both at the same time. Okay? Also, the other thing that we talked about was the key, we talked about last week, key professional service providers. So remember, if you can't hold the position, but you need the position, you can contract out that work so that that is done properly. So sometimes you might need to hire a marketing company that's going to be the one that posts on your website and keeps your website up to date and posts on Facebook for you and that type of stuff, because you don't have the time because you're dealing with the weeds of the operations, but you do need somebody out there always get more customers for you. So you might just get a key professional service provider, set that in your budget, and make sure that happens. Sometimes you might need to farm out the financial part. I'm not really good with the numbers. I need somebody who's going to send me a monthly report saying how much revenue we made, what was our expenses, how do I adjust to make sure that we're making profit. Maybe you need to farm that part out because that's just not your thing. Maybe you're not technologically savvy. Look, I need somebody to go out there and find me a system so that I know how to, that we have a system that we can put client information in, so somewhere we can put the notes so that we can always keep updating information about our clients and things of that nature. So you can farm those parts out through key professional service providers. Okay? So don't feel like you have to do all of that on your own. Thoughts, comments? All right, and so once you make this organizational structure, because you're going to need this, you're making this organizational structure based off of the management structure, the management team that you came up with. Remember, we're building this business plan to go before the bank to let them know how we're going to manage funds, manage money that's coming in, how we're going to pay them back this loan that we're getting from them so we can do business. They're going to know how you're going to manage. Because remember, the bank is going to want to know who is running the company. Remember, everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything. So you know there's certain people that you will lend money to in your family, and there's certain people you won't lend money to in your family. Why? Based upon their leadership, their decision making. You do that in your mind. So how much more is a bank going to scrutinize? Are you prepared to handle what you're asking for? Okay? Good? All right, so after you have the organizational structure, then you will dive into the description of the organizational structure. So this is where you'll start to talk about how long you'll keep this structure this way. You might have different phases of organizational structure. When I have 10 clients, this is the structure I want to have. But once we hit over 15 clients, the next thing is I want to be able to pick up this type of person that's going to fit this role because this is going to be necessary. So when I hit this level, I want to have 4 people on my sales team. or 4 project managers on my or 4 project managers on my team, or 4 physical therapists on my team, whatever it might be, you want to map out the growth of your organization as well. So you may take snapshots of the organizational chart based upon the growth in which you're projecting for your company. Does that make sense? Okay. So don't feel like I'm locked in, because some people do one of 2 things. They only show the organizational chart where it is right now, so you just be you on there just smiling. Or sometimes they just show the organizational chart based on where you want it to be in 20 years. So you got this large organizational chart, and they're like, how are you going to get there? Show them the progression. Show them what you're going to do, how you are estimating growing. Remember, this is a working document. So don't feel like this is set in stone, this is Moses coming off the mountaintop, and I can never change these. You can. It's going to be always growing.
Now, when are you changing it? Because when you complete it and you head to the bank with what it is, where in that continuum should the document be? So I can only think for myself at this point. If I put in there, I'm going to be the only therapist at this point, I'm going to have this person, and this person working. And maybe say like 6 months from now, that would be probably my only map out growth. Like I don't want to map out 5 years from now. I'm probably thinking 6 months to a year, I have an additional therapist and this person.
So you would revisit it based on how long you're mapping out. So if you're mapping out for a year, you need to revisit this monthly. Because the thing is, are you going to be on track to meet your goals of what you're looking for?
But I mean, when it's completed and I take it to the bank, do I need to have, like, how much of that map out do I need to have to go to the bank with the business plan?
You want to map out the point where you think you have enough money to pay the bank back, so that they see the full picture. So if I'm asking for $200,000 and I only map out to 6 months, they're going to say, so you'll make $200,000 in 6 months? I'm going to have all my money back? You're going to have to map out to the point where they feel comfortable and know that you can handle and pay back what you're asking for.
Well, you can start paying them back, or they're going to be paid back.
No, you start paying them back in 1 month.
Oh,
As soon as you take the money out, they're going to want something next month.
okay.
Yeah, it's just like when you buy a car, when you get a host, it's not like, hey, have at it. Yeah, as soon as you feel like you're doing good, send me a check in. No, they say no. They're going to have on there in 45 days, the first check is due. So you better be out there running. You need to feel comfortable about the business plan. Like you're diving in. This is a leap of faith. You're diving in. You're literally saying, I've mapped it out. I spent time with God. I've done my research. I know what's going on. And this is why I'm asking for this, because I know I'm going to hit it. Like I feel confident about that. Yes?
What's the alternative to going to the bank and getting it? Is there a way where you can safely start investing your own money or something? And when do you know when that's not a good sign?
So there's multiple ways of getting money, and I know I'm kind of talking about the bank part, but when we get to the financial part, we'll deal with angel investors. So there's other people that you can go to that are not the bank, that are willing to invest money into your company, but it's still the same concept. You have a timetable on when you're paying them back. Okay? Then you might set up the business plan so you know how aggressive you need to save in order to start your company. So you might say, you know what? I know I need $50,000 to start my company, and I believe that can last me for 6 months, and I believe that I'll be able to generate enough funds from there. So I'm going to take the next 18 months to save the $50,000 to do it myself. So then you become the bank. You save the money, and you set up a time where you're going to pay yourself back that money. So, but here's the deal. On that last one, people, when you become the bank, you like lose accountability, and so you're not really. I mean, you're just all in. So you're taking out second mortgage on the home if it's not going through it, and that type of stuff. And that's when you get real dangerous. That's why you need to really map out the game plan if you're going to do that, and then have somebody, advisors and things of that nature on you, or a board of directors that's going to hold you to what you're saying to yourself. Okay. Excellent
More
question.
important to really write it down.
Correct.
To know what you're doing.
Remember, scripturally, Habakkuk chapter 2, write the vision, make it plain, so those that see it may run with it. You're a part of the people that see it. You don't know where to run unless you have it mapped out and you can see where you're running to.
And that's a lack of what?
Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2.
Oh yeah, that's so easy.
2. Okay. Alright, so let's talk about your legal structure. Legal structure. There are, depending on what you're doing, there's multiple structures that you can do legally. Okay? You can be a sole proprietor, which means you're the only person that owns the company. You're the only person that works for the company. Everybody else that you get for the company will be a contractor. And so anytime that you're paying them, you're either paying them from some type of agreement, or if they're working representing your company, you're sending them a 1099 at the end of the year. Okay? So the reason why you don't have them as an employee, because you don't have to do the W-2 form, which means you don't have to deal with their taxes and all the other paperwork that goes with that. Okay? So that's typically what most individuals do, doing sole proprietor. Okay? Step up from sole proprietor, you can be an LLC. And you can be an LLC and still operate as a sole proprietor tax-wise. Or you can be an LLC and you operate as a separate entity for your taxes. Okay? So these things are, you definitely need to sit down with your tax accountant and figure out what's the best route for you. This is just a high-level overview of what those things are. Okay? Then you can be an LLC means limited liability corporation. Then you can be an LLP, limited liability partnership. A lot of law firms are that way. So everybody got their last name on the wall is a partner. And that's that limited liability partnership, meaning they are a part of the legal ownership of that company. This is why people, when they become a lawyer, they're fighting to either, at first they're an associate, so they are associated with that company, but they want to be an owner of the company, they want to be a partner. Meaning that they've done enough cases, made enough money for the company where the company's like, you need to be part owner of what we're doing. Okay? And that means you make money off the associates that are bringing in funds and that type of stuff. Okay? Then you have a level called an S Corp or an S Corporation. And the S Corporation means that you have 75 or fewer owners of the company. Okay? And there's different tax benefits to doing that. And you're not really dealing with, you're not really looking to like get on the stock exchange and things of that nature, because you're just going to keep a small company. That's going to be you guys own it. But you also want the tax benefits where it's separated from you on a larger scale. So there's greater tax benefits to being a corporation. That's corporation. And then you have a C corporation, which is like the top corporation. Those are individuals that are looking to go on the stock market, things like that. Now, you don't always have to be on the stock market for a C corporation, but most of those individuals are looking to get other investors that are always funneling money inside their company. I mean, they're really large. This is your Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, that type of stuff. Those are your legal structure. What is the best legal structure for you? Whatever is the most tax advantageous. That is the best legal structure for you. Okay? As a sole proprietor, you don't have to, everything that you're doing and money bringing in, you do that with your regular taxes. If you don't need, as an LLC, you got to pay an additional $300. You got to look at your property taxes for what the company owns. It takes more money to do the taxes. If it's just you and you're not looking to expand right now, and you're bringing all that money inside your house, a sole proprietor might be the best route. There are disadvantages to that, but there's also advantages to that where you're not putting out as much money for your taxes. Okay? If you're bringing in a good sizable amount of money, there's a possibility that somebody can sue you, things of that nature, then you might want to be an LLC. It's going to be large enough that you're actually going to be looking to get property, to get cars, those type of things under the company. You might want to grow to an LLC. That might be the best one for you. Same with S Corp, same with C Corp. Whatever is the most tax advantageous for you, that's the one you need to do. And you need to talk to a tax accountant in order to, and tell them the truth about your business so that they can say, at this point, let's keep it sole proprietor. Or at this point, yeah, you need to switch to LLC. Man, I know someone who's just one person, and they are S corporation or C corporation, because they bring in that much money, and it's tax advantageous for them to be a corporation that holds the funds, and then he is an employee or she is the employee of the company, and they get a W-2 from that company, and it's just them. But it's bringing that much money, and it needs to be run that way. Okay? Y'all hilarious. Do it, God. Make me be there. One person that's hilarious. Hilarious. Right. That's usually the boring part. Don't nobody want to talk about living structure. Just look. Tell me what structure I am and let me pay the money. I don't care. Okay, I know what I mean. I get it. All right. And now let's talk about intellectual property. Okay, so your logos, your websites. If you're creating something, you need to get a patent, trademarks, all that type of stuff. What do I do? What do I need? So on and so forth. Okay. At that point, when you're concerned about people possibly taking your name or that type of stuff, this is what you need to do. That's the reason why sometimes it's good to be incorporated, even if you're a sole proprietor. So let's say for somebody is out there and they're in Maryland and they incorporated being Get It Right, Get It Tight. And you're operating as a sole proprietor, you never went to the Baltimore and put in your information. And you get a letter one day that says, hey, you get a cease and desist letter. You can no longer use that name. You done branded your name, you got websites, you got stuff out there, people been calling you that the whole time, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got a cease and desist? What was the difference? They went and incorporated, you did not. So this is another reason why it's good, even if you're going to be a sole proprietor, go incorporate your business. Because the courts are going to say, they are a legal entity. You are a hobby. They win.
Wow.
Period. We're not talking, there's nothing else to talk about. So forth. They incorporated, they got their paperwork. You don't. So stop using the name. So now you're rebranding, trying to find another logo and all types of stuff to get your company out there because you didn't incorporate. Okay? So that's the advice I always give. Go incorporate, even if you're thinking you might use the name and you're not quite sure yet. Incorporate the name. All right?
Nobody else can use it.
So nobody else can use it.
They search the database or something to make sure this name.
Exactly. So when you actually go incorporate your name, in Baltimore, they're going to make sure that there's no other corporation in the state of Maryland that can use that. Now, when you are start doing business across state lines, and you have other offices in different states, this is where you might want to start doing a trademark, doing a brand, because at that point, you want people to know they can't use this, and you're doing a trademark on the federal level. Okay? Most of the time, the likelihood of somebody having it at that point is low. But that one is a little bit easier to fight because you can say, I've had this, I'm in the state of Maryland, I've been operating off of this, so I can still use this. But trademark is more like when you get super large and look, you're McDonald's. You don't want anybody to use the M. This particular M, you don't want anybody to jock that image.
No, I just laughed at Coming to America.
Oh, McDowell's. and so think about that. That's literally how it is. McDowell's had to change it up a little bit, but they're trying to steal some of the marketing and familiarity from McDonald's so people feel more comfortable when doing business with them. This is why you're doing trademarks. Because and when you do your trademark, you're trademarking not only the name, but the image.
Okay,
So it's like the logo is a part of it. The arches. So they've trademarked golden arches. Sometimes you can trademark phrases. So I think Pat Riley trademarked three-peat. So anytime somebody say that in basketball, three-peat, Pat Riley's getting a check.
She trademarked over. 2 hours and 3 hours.
2 and 3.
Cardi B trademark, see? And that's the thing. So if somebody uses it in a commercial, things of that nature, you're getting a check. No one can use your style unless your brand, your phrase, whatever it is, unless you allow them to use it. And you say, give me some money. And that's how it works. So
Is that
that's,
a one-time thing when you trademark it, or is it something you have to keep paying to?
I think it's a one-time thing, but I think I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
Wouldn't it be like television shows? They got paid for making the first show, but the reruns, they still get something, maybe not as much, but some kind of dividend off of it.
Yeah, but that's how you protect that brand and protect with that product, and someone always have to pay you for using it. That's the whole goal. So you want to. That's what trademarks are. So if you got something that's like golden, and you know other people might end up using it one day, you trademark it.
But that's the thing, you don't never know when it's going to be golden. So you want to, it's such a little thing to pay to protect your blow up like that.
And you also have to be able to prove that it's unique. Okay? So for instance, there was this big, this has been happening a lot, I think it's special on this. So, yeah, a special on this and talking about the trademark. So a lot of African American or hip hop style dances, people haven't been trademarking them. So Fortnite had some of the images doing some of the dances. And so people who like started the dances was like, they making billions of dollars, they should be able to give me money for that. They didn't trademark it, but they're saying I can prove that I started this, that they're jockeying directly off of me. And the courts ruled that the dances weren't unique enough to actually consider them trademark. And so people can still use them because it's movement of the bodies that anybody could do and probably have done in times before. And so that's how it was.
So like back in the day, the shaft could have been trademarked.
So
Ain't nobody get down and
yeah, so if you wanted to if you said, but when you do the trademark, you gotta say, I move my hand at this degree, do this part, and if somebody's not doing exactly what I'm doing,
Their hand is one inch
they're the
lower.
McDowell of the McDonald's. then they can do something that's similar to it because it's not specifically trademarked.
Well, let me, okay, so let's use, okay, Dove's Truth logo. Would they say that's specific enough, that's enough detail in there that nobody else can, if you got that trademark?
I possibly can. Well, now what's going on? The issue is the heart. The heart by itself probably can't be trademarked because so many people use the heart.
Right,
But how the letter is broken up,
right.
did the person that created the logo make this up, or did they just use a
Did they
specific font that they stole from something? Or that was on Microsoft Word or something of that nature. So all that has to, we have to prove that this was a unique or original logo.
So I need to find out from the person that did my logo.
Did they steal pieces?
Did they cheat or did they put it together?
They didn't cheat, but they might have taken elements of different things. They might not have free-handed things of that nature.
But if you pull, so that means you cannot, if they did. You can't trademark that.
No, you couldn't. Because you
So
took.
they took it from other places.
Now, if you take other elements and make it a unique element,
Okay,
and you can prove that it's a unique element, then you could trademark it.
okay, so that's the question.
But you can't have like a whole McDonald's arches sitting
Yeah.
on the logo.
Right.
Like, you can do
They
that.
can't trademark it. Oh, no.
No, but they did trademark that. So McDonald's trademarked the arches.
Yeah, because that was a whole nother.
Yeah, you can't use arches as a part of your food. Yeah. They don't even call it the M, they call it golden arches.
Right.
Because it'd be different. You can't trademark a letter,
Yeah, that's not.
but you can trademark an image. Okay. Also dealing with copyrights. So if you're writing an original piece or things of that nature, or you did an original score, or you've done an original song with different beats and things of that nature. So the example I like to use is Vanilla Ice when he used Sting's Under Pressure. Doom 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 doom. And have you ever looked at the interview when Vanilla Ice tried to say that he wasn't using that song? He was like, "This goes doom 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 doom. Mine goes doom 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 doom." And so they were like, "Come on, dude! Like you're trying, it's not working. Like you stole theirs. You owe them money because you took those notes from them."
It's like Katy Perry's song.
Yeah, so Katy Perry's song, Dark Horse, she actually took it from Flame and Lecrae's song. And so they just won millions of dollars just like 2 weeks ago because they were able to prove, and they overlaid the tracks, and they were like, you just distorted the sounds, but you're using the same beats.
The bass line from, what's the name, from Marvin Gaye to,
Oh, yeah, so Marvin Gaye's,
that's the bass line.
Marvin Gaye and Pharrell actually said, I wanted to make something that sounded like this. No, you took the bass line and put it on the track and then put some sounds around it. And I think they won $12 million for that. So, copywriting is a big thing. Like, all right, so. All right, any other questions around company structure, dealing with the organizational structure, those type of things? All right. Y'all look like your brains are fried, so we're going to take 10 minutes. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we'll pick up dealing with the industry analysis. We'll end with that. So I'll put a timer up. We'll do a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back together.
So ICE don't use that no more?
No, he used it. He just had to pay it.
That's what it was?
Real estate down, back.
He's living at home. The things in there.
So what? So what?
Really?
Alright, so you're gonna be like that, right? You want to talk? Alright, let's do the whole plate. Go ahead, go.
I thought about that.
We went to Goodwin Park for the giveaway stuff. Kids take a lot of energy.
Copyright this. Trademark this.
Yes. Actually, you would be trademarking it. That image.
That used to be the something back in that. You got them almost like that.
She looked just like
Take a point, and we'll do adjustments, make sure all the other adjustments.
Get out of here. Who's paying that? Who you qualify for, and who's paying that?
And then when I was thinking about paying,
Like playing it.
They were like, you need to get that money with us instead of the Lord. That's how they go. That's how they think.
you're paying for your part, man.
Well, having it in this environment, you know, that's where I can have it over the other point, and it's like, you know, again, like I said, like, it's hard, like, I'm having a hard time finding issues, and I very well know that there's none in yellow, and there's no in green, so those are taken out, there is for the green started, and then green.
What don't you like about it?
Yeah.
The baby with the test drive, my friend the day before, I was like, they were trash.
I've been looking at stuff, but I'm just holding off. I'm like, just get a list of stuff I want to give to the man. I know that they want to show it. I'm like, hold on, I've been pricing out, get it painted, new armors, and other stuff. Like, but shit.
It's probably enough.
So y'all get a little more responsible. Yeah. I mean, say literally, and like from day to day, I'm like, there's a biscuit in the doorbell. This is McDonald's Tuesday, so I did a wild card biscuit.
You have to work.
Just raise the kids. She's a CFO and probably what? When you ever probably you probably the CEO and the CFO. Probably CEO. This is more than one direction to go. But then you're like, well, you should do it this way or that way. Oh, it's gonna hurt.
That used to be my show, man.
What?
Scandal. That just got super ratchet. Man. That just went fell off the divan.
I mean, we just fell right come on, we went from like, all the way out.
Like the last couple seasons, it was just like.
What's wrong?
Did you still?
No, it
The last one he did was like,
literally did
I
not
just
see
got a
you last.
call, they'll be here at
Last year?
9:30.
This is 9 to 7.
What's your?
Scandal.
Oh.
So you hear Sam
And it helped me stop because Shauna decided to stop, right?
But that's great, because you run out of stuff to write. Sometimes the book has to end. You got to write it in to the book.
So scared
I
of
was last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stop tonight, right? Come on, man.
Come on now.
But I don't know, and that ambitions kind of started off, and it's almost at the end already. So this just has gone too fast.
What's that mission?
I've never seen these pictures.
Is it the Shauna land?
Is it what?
Shauna land?
No, it's on
Oh, one show that just has me mesmerized right now is Building. Building is insanely good. Writing is
Is it back on again?
not yet.
I think I flirted with Megan, but I watched too much stuff.
Queen Sugar is good too. But Billions, I like the way things happen. You don't know how that happened, and then they go back.
Alright.
I didn't realize, is Billions back on there?
I don't know. All right, let's jump back in it.
And you don't have to stay up late anymore. Just look at all the names.
That's what I do. I'm gonna find everything on there.
Check out these guys. It's gonna rock. All right, so any questions that you might have thought of over company structure? How to do that piece? How to write that in your business plan? Remember, when you're at the point where you're just getting your information together, your business plan will be somewhere between 10 to 15 pages. If you are ready to go before the bank, you'll have more meat. It'll be somewhere between 25 to 35 pages. And then like if you're dealing with operations, making toys or stuff like that, your business plan is going to be somewhere between 40 to 100 pages. Okay? All right, so let's get into industry analysis. Okay, so the first part is, have you defined, have you researched what is the true description of your industry? Okay, so there's so many variations of the industry that you might be working in. Okay, so if you say, man, I work in IT, what part? Do you work in hardware or software? If you're working in software, you know, do you work on front end? Do you work on back end? What coding are you using? You know, so you start diving into the different aspects of what the industry analysis is. If you're dealing, if I told you I'm in the health industry, health is huge. You know, are you dealing with physical therapy? Are you dealing with registered nurse? Are you dealing with LPNs? Are you dealing with medical coding? Yeah. Are you dealing with personal training? Are you dealing with nutrition? So you have to dive into what is, as far as you can, what is the true description of the industry that you want to be in. Because sometimes you haven't, because you haven't defined that, and you might start diving into it and realize, I don't want to do that part. I want to just do this part right here. So like in construction, you might be the architect or the engineer. And then architect, you might just be the person that just like to lay out the space. You might be the person that loves drawing where all the mechanical work goes. You might love drawing where all the electrical spots are. You might love just the plumbing. You might just like the furniture. There's some people who just love designing furniture that goes into space. They don't want to touch anything else. And so you need to know the true description of the industry that you want to go into. And that has a lot to do with you as the business, what industry it is. Like, what is your passion? What do you like to do? Then sometimes you realize that your passion doesn't pay enough. And so you might need to rethink what it is. So you might like doing your passion part, but you might need to do the medical billing, because guess what? That's where the money is. And you have to have some part of that. You know? So you might like personal training, one-on-one sessions, but the money might be in group training and online training. So guess what? You better start to love group training and online training, or you're not going to make it in that business. So you have to describe and do your research on what part of the industry you are going to be focusing in on. Now, once you do that, what are some ways that you can find out about your industry? Where would you go? Where would you start? If I asked you to do some research on your industry, to get some details, get some facts,
Talk to people who are in the industry.
Talk to people that's already in the industry. That's one. That's one good thing.
That's successful. That's successful.
That's successful. That's somebody who think they're successful or like the concept.
Find magazines for related.
Magazines and articles. You want to look at business journals and things of that nature that's dealing specifically in your industry. So what are the top magazines for your industry? What are some other things that you can research? Because Google's a good place to start. But you got to do some weeding when you do Google. Because there's some people who just write their opinion, and then there's true articles that have been cited, that have true sources that understand exactly what they're asking for. So you might want to do, if I'm looking up cars and I want to know what's the car industry, I'm not just going to Google and just Joe Blow mechanical shop might be talking about it. I might want to go to Kelly's Blue Book. Or I want to go to the Consumer Digest. Like, I want to dig into organizations that actually do research on these items. So I know you were glad when you thought school was over, but the things that you learned in school are how to do true research, how to have real sources for your research, comes in handy in life. And so you, remember, everything rises and falls on leadership. So if that person doesn't have great leadership in that particular area, you should not be listening to them about what the industry is like, okay? And what the industry descriptions are, okay? Make sense on the industry description? So now that you've defined what your industry is, you've nailed it down. This is my niche. This is my industry. Now you have to determine what is your target market. Your target market describes the individuals that would want to use the industry description that you're talking about. Okay? So, if you want to get into snow plowing, it's probably not a good idea to start researching Florida or Texas. You want to start looking for places that they're going to need. They have 20 plus inches of snow annually in their particular region. So you would do that. You would look at what those places are. Then you would describe, okay, my target market. We'll talk about, as also part of your target market, not only you describing the people that you're targeting, but you also want to describe the companies that also target that market as well. So this is when somebody says the market is saturated. Means that there's too many companies that are providing that type of service to those target market, to those individuals that will want to do that. So while you're doing your research, you're trying to find out what is going to be your niche, what's going to set you apart, and is there enough money to be made? Is there enough people that will pay for this service? All right. So one example that we used, I think, back in June was in Bowie. They just opened up the monthly. They opened up a monthly car wash. You can pay a certain amount, go back there to get your car washed. Right now they are booming because they did their research. They look at individuals that have certain type of high-end cars. They look at the concentration of where they work. They look at the different types of roads that led to that location, and they market it to those individuals. Do those people want it? Prince George's County, the most affluent black county in the nation, they understand that African Americans usually spend their money on cars, and they usually spend money on keeping the cars looking nice, And so they placed themselves in a convenient area. And now there's more people lining up on 301 to create this. So they created another one all the way down to Crofton. They're popping up all over the place because they realize there's a target market. There's people that want that. Now, setting this up in Florida might not be a good idea. Here's the reason why. In Florida, individuals usually get a car wash for $3. Anywhere between $3 to $5. Because it's cheaper. It's just cheaper. Most individuals, the cost of living is much lower. So no one's going to pay $55 a month to go wash their car. Because I can get it for $3. The car wash over there services, one car wash is $35. So the person that gets the $55 a month already says 2 washes, it pays for itself. They have that type of expendable income in this particular area in order to pay for that. But depending on the region, I wouldn't put that in Florida because there's other companies that could undercut my model. If I'm going to do that, I might have to charge $10 a month for unlimited car washes. Are there enough people driving cars that's going to come through there to pay me $10 a month for that? True, it could be, but that's the thing. You have to do your analysis of what the target market wants, what they're willing to pay for. Okay? Because sometimes what they want, they're not willing to pay for it.
That's right.
So you got to look at both things, and you got to look at who's already offering that. All right. So again, we'll come back here. They have people that clean homes in this area. Okay. Right now, I didn't do the average rate, but most of the time we've had most people come in and look at our home and say that'd be $300 a time. And we say, yo, I'm not paying that. I'm paying that. A lot of money. Now there was times when we had people that did it for more than 50% off of that. And those are the people we went with. But you gotta be willing to know what they're paying for. You might not get that same type of money in District Heights or Fairmont Heights. But you might be able to get it here. Or you might be able to get $350, $400 in Ashburn or Falls Church or Arlington. So you got to understand the individuals, their work-life balance, what they do and what they're willing to pay for, and the type of expendable income they have. Okay? That's critical. Yeah, I feel myself getting high. I'm about to drink your juice. All right, so any questions around target market? Target market, how you would do that. So how would you find out information for your target market? Research. What are you researching? Where could you find an analysis on where people live at, how much money they make? Census. Every 10 years in America, they do a census. So they're looking and doing research on where people are, the demographics of where they are, how much money they make, are they single family homes, are they multi-family homes? They're going to look at everything. And it's going to be in that census report every 10 years. And sometimes they do addendums to it and adjustments and all type of stuff. Okay? So that would be the first place you start. And the census goes down to the cities. It goes down to counties. They do it sometimes in just zones or areas by state as well. So that's where you would want to start. What else? Not only are you researching the people that you're marketing to, what other group are you researching?
Other companies?
The other companies.
Yeah.
So how would you find out information about the companies?
Well, they still do have telephone books.
Have fun.
There's whitepages.com.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, something like that. It could be, I mean, it could be electronic, but they still have telephone books.
So what do you do when you say, I want some Jamaican food? What would you do? And you're in an area that you don't know. What would you do? You would Google it. You would say this area, search this area for Jamaican eateries. And it would pop up.
Ask Siri.
Ask Siri. You would do the same thing. Show me all the personal trainers in this particular area. Show me all the gyms. Show me all the house cleaning services. Show me all the website companies in this particular area. Sometimes you have to do your own research. What is companies? Click on their websites. What do they look like? Do they look high end? What are their pricing structures? What do they offer? So you gotta start looking at the particular areas to see who you up against.
Because you have to not only look at price, but what they offer.
Absolutely.
Because you're willing to pay a little bit more for something extra.
Sometimes people don't. It depends.
Well,
It depends on what the service is.
yeah, the quality.
Hey, look, I just want somebody to cut the grass. I don't care if it's manicured tight and with that nigga going down. I just need $20, cut the grass, make it down. Some people might say, oh, I need my grass to be tip-top state. I need True Green to come out. I need these companies to do this, this, and that. It depends on the person.
Right.
You might have somebody, I know this is very stereotypical, but you might have somebody in the baby boomer generation who needs a perfect manicured lawn. You have somebody that's a millennial who don't care. They don't care. They just don't. They don't care what they got. They don't care. Just cut it. Just make sure I don't look like the worst yard on the street. Yeah. Again, stereotypical is coming from a baby boomer. That's horrible. I'm just saying that's what happens. You know, there's just some people who just don't care. You might be like, oh my gosh. What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to project. I don't want you to say, because this is what I would do, I believe this is what the market does. What your thought process is not what the market does. That's why you have to research the market.
Right. Because most people don't think like you do.
Most people do not think like you do. Okay? You might say, you know what? I would never spend $1,500 for a table behind this velvet rope. But guess what? The market pays for it. You might say, oh my gosh, who would ever do that? Lots of people. It's not right, it's not wrong, it's what the market is yielding.
You know, I was thinking about that. I mean, this may vary by industry too, so I don't know if you have thoughts on this, but just thinking about the importance of focusing on your products and offering your product. Like, you almost even offer a better product for the same price. Because a lot of times I think we feel like if our product's a little better, we can charge a little more. Or depending on who we are, I'm a black-owned physical therapy clinic.
Mm-hmm.
So people don't want to pay a little bit. People don't want to pay a little bit. People do not want to. People want. I was thinking about Jay-Z. Yeah, we talking about it does depend. Like Jay-Z, y'all know Jay-Z. He bought a Dutch music streaming service, branded it, labeled it, and his thing was they were using a different kind of audio codec, and our audio codec is better than everybody else's, and therefore I'm gonna charge you more for my service. Mm-hmm. And I'm black, so black people should support. He even rap about the lyrics like, y'all didn't want to give me y'all money because we now want to pay an additional $4 a month for your streaming service, even though you are black. We appreciate you, God bless you.
Right.
But I'm not a super audiophile.
Right.
Spotify and Apple Music sound pretty good to me.
Sounds great. I've been rocking with them for years.
For cheaper. So I'm not gonna pay you more just because of who you are, or because you think your service is a little bit better.
But I think also with that, it is the market of the people that he is marketing, who is willing to, like he said, baby boomers want more quality. People he's marketing may be different. Because I know, women who go get their nails done, it's very expensive. However, I like certain environments. I like to go, I like to be, people give me attention and they're just working on me and with me. I like to be served wine and that kind of stuff. I pay a little bit more, but I enjoy the experience where someone else may just want to run in and get their nails done and then get out. But I'm retired. I'm looking for the experience.
So that you guys are defining the differences of the target markets.
Right.
There's a market that wants to have high quality music, and it means a certain type of ear. Like for instance, if I told you about a DJ, there's some DJs who will not spin anything but vinyl. There's a certain sound that I want. I'm buying vinyl records. It is maybe this amount of DJs that do that. There's a whole nother group of DJs who they have their Apple computer or their Windows computer up there, so on and so forth. And then I know some DJs who use their phone. They use their phone. There's no shifting, sliding to the song. The song is fading out. You gotta wait till the next song starts. That's the song that's gonna play. Okay?
That's your budget.
And I remember
all the customer really needed was a speaker.
right, and then there's another customer that says, let me buy a speaker, let me get this auxiliary cord, I'm gonna put my playlist on, and that's what happens. And so here's the difference. I know a DJ who does it for a living, and that's what they charge. They charge $450. They're gonna have their computer up. They're gonna mix. They're gonna fade into it. They're gonna have the all that stuff on it. They're gonna be talking on the microphone, so on and so forth. But he was saying he was being undercut by these kids using their phones who were asking for $100. And he's like, I give this experience. But guess what? These kids that's coming up now,
Kids.
they're like, I don't want that. And so the DJ that I was talking to was he was a Gen X, and he's talking about a lot of Gen Ys that are coming behind him. And
that's looking at your market, because the scene has changed. You don't have dance halls. You don't have like that kind of stuff. It's not as big as anymore. Like music is everywhere now.
That's why demographics is so important.
Yes.
Are there enough of yous who are more established, who have maybe a little bit more discretionary income
It depends on
to
the
go
area.
get the nails done with the wine, and you just gotta, location is everything.
That's where your location comes in,
Right.
right? Other people that you
Exactly.
You have to drive to get to that. Like, you gotta drive to get to that. You're not gonna get
But,
that.
but here's the deal. Like for instance, Prince George's County. Right now they're making a big push to provide higher end restaurants. Why? Because they saw that people were driving 20, 30 miles to get a different type of experience for food. You can put the brand up there, but then who's the brand hiring? So now there's a certain amount of customer service and interaction that you're paying for, and some people are still saying, I will still drive 20, 30 miles until the customer service, until my waitress or waiter is better. And that's what they're doing. And so that's why you have to do the research. You have to look at the census, see how much money these individuals have, see how many companies are in this area, see what they're charging, see what the yield is, see what the demographics are, how old they are. What are their nationalities? You want to look at the makeup of their homes. Are they two-parent home? Are they one-parent home? How many kids do they have? Because there might not be that much expendable income for your high-end washing service. Like, it's just not there. And so that's why it's critical. And this is what happens. Businesses don't do their research. They invest a lot of money to come to a particular place. They just believe if you build it, they will come. They think it's the field of dreams, and their dreams get shattered.
Well, I went to the movies today, and I'm like, this movie is going downhill quick. The movie that's cat corner from Bowie Town Center, where the what is that over there?
Regal.
Yeah, all that. I went in there. They have a big sign. If you need to buy a ticket, go to the concession stand.
So they don't
What the
have.
heck is that?
So they don't have nobody in the
They
front.
don't have nobody in the front anymore.
Ticket booth is black.
You gotta pay that.
You gotta pay them.
Because
You gotta pay them.
guess what? There's not enough people coming to that location.
But is that because
Honest.
now the nicer movies now, you know, they have a recliner like in some areas they had a recliner chairs, they have a little restaurant like where you can eat, they even had the bar.
They got reserved
And
seating.
whatever, reserved seating and whatever, and that movie theater has not kept up with that.
Absolutely. And so either they're going to renovate,
That's what I said.
or they're going to get put out of business. And that's the thing. You have to, not only do you do this when you first launch your business, you're doing this yearly, constantly, because the industry is always changing.
Yeah, I saw something on TV. They talking about that's why J.C. Penney's was having a problem, Macy's was having a problem. They weren't updating their stores. They said they gave an example of how Target has changed and kept up. When you walk into a Target there, you see how it's remodeled and everything.
Oh, it's remodeled.
Yeah.
It's always, like for instance, Toys R Us. Toys R Us had the toy industry
And lock that.
corner. Guess what? Amazon and stuff started doing that, and Toys R Us said, people don't want to buy toys online. They want to come in and have the experience and grab a toy. There'll always be people who want toys. Guess what? They went bankrupt. Toys R Us is coming back. Somebody bought the name and the branding because they know the branding is still there. People have the nostalgia, but guess what they're doing now? They have totally remodeled their online experience. Because you can't play in this game if you're now online and making it convenient. People are paying extra money for convenience.
They say young people don't particularly appreciate the experience of going into a store and shopping.
Well, okay,
Well-
so I could talk about that. I don't want to bring my 3 kids into Toys R Us where every single aisle is 10 minutes long. I want to be able to browse while they're watching something and
Exactly.
have it shipped to the house.
Guess what?
Or shipped to their house.
Guess
So
what?
that
I'm
I can
not,
even see it.
exactly.
Uh-huh.
I'm not
And they're
getting
balling.
food. I am not getting food with the girls in the car unless they have a drive-thru. Guaranteed.
That's like your kids. I tell you.
I do Chick-fil-A. I set them straight into the plate. I told them to come out to the
Unless they got a play area that we're going to be sitting down and chilling. But most of the time, if I'm choosing a location and one has a drive-thru and one does not, even though I want the location that doesn't have the drive-thru, I'm going to the drive-thru.
If you have your kids.
If I have my kids and I don't want to take them out the car, hold their hands, cross the street, put that down, stop running. I can sit them in the car. There's a video on. They're going to be quiet and we're going to be sitting in the line. I'm going to scroll on my phone. The next car move up, we'll move up with them. That's it. I'm not getting out the car.
So you tend to spend more money when they go in.
Yes,
with you, too.
indeed.
Yes, I took them in Costco. Oh, we can get anything we want now.
Oh, you cannot. You can get any sample you want. The sample's coming up. You can sit down if you want that sample. No sitting, no
Johnson girls make proclamations. We want they
quickly through the
We're gonna
door.
be buying stuff. We're gonna be buying some other stuff when we get in.
No.
Yeah, but go ahead, Wesley.
No, so what we're doing is we're talking about all the different trends, things of nature that's happening.
Yeah, but
You-
Mike had some good points. Everybody don't want to spend that extra money.
No, it depends on the market. At the end of the day, you have to ask the market what do they want. Stop projecting your attitude
want, yeah.
onto the market.
Yeah, but everybody don't even drink, so they may not even want no. Well, they serve tea and coffee too.
Okay, so there's also like mom groups on Facebook, and I see those all the time. You have the high-end nail places. Meanwhile, I saw a post the other day. It's like, where can I get a mani and pedi for $13? Everybody, 13. Everybody's like New York.
Yeah, one thing.
Not here.
Yeah.
New York. That's the last time I saw that price. That's the last time I saw that price.
And it really just depends on.
But one lady
individual.
said, I know a place, and everybody's hounding her for the name of said place. So it's like, well, okay, there's turnover versus cost per person.
Yeah.
Correct. So, like for instance, you made the comment that millennials don't want to pay extra for an experience. But I can tell you an industry where millennials will pay top dollar
It depends on what
for the
it's like, right?
experience, and that's for travel. They've realized that millennials will pay to travel somewhere because they can take the picture and post it online and get a particular perception of who they are and what they're doing, and they're willing to pay for that.
Even if they have to,
Even if they gotta do a new
pay
credit card.
for the next 2 years.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But that's the thing. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's what people are willing to pay for. There's things that you pay for that somebody else would say, that's retarded. I would never pay for that. And there's things that I would pay for that you would be like, what is wrong with you? You have to understand the market. What they are willing to pay for.
And then I guess also you need to know what percentage are baby boomers, what percentage is Gen X, what percentage is
So
Gen
where would you
Y?
get that information from?
Did you say census?
The census. Everything that you're thinking of that pops to your mind, you will get it from the census. That's why you got to look at it. That's why you got to study it. That's why you got to know. In a particular area, what is the age of the individuals, what is their nationality, how much expendable income do they have, how much money they're bringing in, what is the makeup of their families, are they two-parent, one-parent? You have to know that. What's the average child age ranges? They'll have it between this many kids are under 18, this many kids are between 18 and 25. They'll give you the demographics between 25 and 35, 35 and 45, 50 and above. Like, they will give you the information you need to research it. You need to know. That's going to give you the competitive advantage. Because you know where these individuals are. You know what cities that they're congregating in. You know how to market to those individuals. Do you market the same way to a baby boomer as you do to a millennial? No. For a baby boomer, you might need to put it in the paper. They might still read the paper.
Well, that's like we're doing this family reunion. A lot of the older people don't have email accounts. So I have to mail some things, text some things, email other things. I mean, and some things I can post on Facebook just to make sure I get everybody.
Absolutely. And you might be thinking, this ain't worth it, but that's the environment we're in. We're in the environment of convenience. I can tell you that. No matter what demographic you're dealing with, they want to be marketed to in the most convenient way to them.
For them.
That's it. It's not convenient for you because that means you're marketing 5 different ways. But because those are your demographics, you need to hit all 5 this way. That's just the way it is.
And it varies on what it is. Like, I don't want you to text me your information about your company. That I prefer in mail.
Yep.
I will not sit there and read those texts.
Right.
Whereas my friends need to text me because I don't want a phone call.
Or I don't want an email.
Yeah.
So it really depends. You have to understand that. It is not your customer's job to understand how to get to your business. It is your business to get to your customers. Point blank. And this is where people throw their hand. I ain't doing all that. You are not going to have a business. Period. If you think it's too much of a hassle, you are not cut out for business. You're just not. You need to get you a job, work that job. Because you're not willing to do what it takes to reach your customers. That might be okay. I don't want to do that. It's too much energy. But that's what it is. So, as you're also looking at the industry analysis at this part, you need to understand the trends of your industry. We've been kind of talking about that. So how are people grocery shopping now? Okay? I remember Giant Peapod started that off, and people was like, oh my gosh, I don't want nobody picking my stuff. Guess what? People having groceries and all types of stuff delivered to their house now. Amazon, they hitting a button in their house and it's sending something to them. Because it's the same paper towels or whatever it might be that's coming in all the time. McDonald's delivers. So now you got DoorDash and things of that nature. So when you used to be like, I wish they delivered, guess what? They figured out a way to make them deliver. They listened to what the consumer wanted. The consumer said, tired of going out, all that stuff. I would love to eat in the comfort of my home, where my Wi-Fi is, where I can catch my phone on the TV and watch the shows. I want this type of food with it. Sure, we'll bring it to you. We'll create an industry that can do that. So look at the trends. What is happening? How do people want to be marketed to, and what do they want? You gotta look at the trends. It sucks, and that means that you gotta be up on the times. You can never fall behind. Man, I want to be trying to. This is who I am. This is the way I do it. No, then your business will eventually fail. Every business will eventually fail. In the book Good to Great, they did a case study on how amazing Circuit City was and how they were growing. Does anybody know where Circuit City is? Right?
No one does.
They called them a great company.
I do.
That was my spot.
Yeah. They didn't keep up with the times. Best Buy knocked them straight out. They didn't keep up with the trends. I'm sorry, if you're in business, you're on the edge of trends. That means you're trying new haircut styles. That means you're trying new clothes. You're doing it all. You're on top of trends. Okay? Or you have superseded a trend and you have gone into an area of timelessness that no one can touch. Mercedes. They're timeless. They have certain things that they're just willing to do, things that they're just not willing to do. Okay? Has anybody seen the Bentley commercial? How about the Maserati commercial? You're not going to see that. Okay? They know.
I just saw a Maserati commercial the other day.
You did?
Yes, it was. Yes, there's some auto. Where are they at?
No, that's an auto company that put a Maserati in the front of one of that commercial. It wasn't a Maserati commercial. Talking about, this is our Italian car. No, they're not doing
Yeah, I don't remember what they were saying.
If you don't find show, need to know about
Yes. There are some people that have hit a timeless and a level of achievement that they're just not going to do it because that's their brand. The moment you see them on TV, you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening to them? Yeah, like they're struggling. Okay? You got to understand your industry size. We talked about this. How many people want that? How big? How many people are yearning for that? How many companies are in there? You got to know that. And you got to talk about your industry attractiveness. Is it going up? Is it trending up over the past 5 years? Or is it trending down? Or is it stagnant? Okay? So you got to start thinking about that. Like for instance, I remember there was a big trend on web design companies. Everybody was paying for somebody to design websites, things of that nature. Then Wix came out. Then Squarespace came out, all this other stuff where people were trying to do it themselves. They felt comfortable enough on basic PowerPoints and adding stuff. And guess what? The trend was starting to go down on specialized companies that actually built websites. So they're only doing it for like super large companies that there's no way that they can keep up with their brand. But a lot of the smaller businesses and individuals that are doing websites, they're paying this minimum price. Wix, Squarespace saw a trend. So that a lot of people needed websites because more people were using these instead of just having business cards and putting their company in the mailer or something like that. They realized that, and so they made a way to make a new niche. Okay? So they created a new attractiveness as a part of that industry. Those are the things that you want to be thinking about. The industry that God has me going into, what is it looking like right now? What have been the trends and what is the attractiveness of it over the past couple of years? Okay, and then at the end of the day, what is the profit potential of that industry? Okay, if there's no money in the industry, you ain't gonna make no money. it's just that simple. If there's no money in the industry, you're not gonna make that money. If you're spending 20 hours to develop a website and they're only paying you $200, there ain't no money in it. There's just no money in it. Okay, so you gotta pay attention to what that profit margin. That's the first thing we talk about with the 5 P's. Okay. Okay. So then the last part of this is you're going to deal with your competitive position in the market. If I asked you what makes you unique, what will you say? After all the research that you have done, what sets you apart so that you will be competitive and that you will make money and that people will be attracted to your business? If you've done your analysis and you know that individuals in the northern part of Prince William County like to have a glass of wine when they're doing their nails, and you know that the average price for Manny and Petty is $30, but you know that you're going to charge $27 and you can still have a profit margin of $10, then you have a competitive advantage. I offer great atmosphere, wine, for a cheaper price than my competitors. That's your competitive advantage. That's what you're talking about. Same quality, cheaper price.
And for some reason, maybe they use different products, but it doesn't have smell a lot of medication.
There. And you won't be suing us for mesothelioma in 10 years. Like, whatever it might be, like, you know, low VOC, I think it's volatile organic compounds. So you got low harmful items that could get into your bloodstream, that type of stuff. Okay? So, if that's your competitive advantage, that's it.
That's what I'm treating.
If your competitive advantage for cleaning homes is clean your home, dust, you can rub your finger across it, and I'm 10% cheaper than the industry, that's your competitive advantage. That's what you use. That's what you continue to say. If you have customers that can speak on your behalf about that, that's what you use. You can say, here are my list of clients. I've been doing this for 5 to 10 years. This is what's happening. Jamila just said something that her trainer is using now. Jamila's been on blood pressure medicine for 15 years. She almost passed out by being on blood pressure medicine, which means that she's now on blood pressure medicine because she's been working out with this personal trainer for the past 7 weeks. That's what I'm saying. I'm going for my price because I'm able to get people on for blood pressure medicine, things of that nature. We have people that are having extraordinary results. That's your competitive advantage. You want to talk about that. So that's what you go with, okay? So you need to take the time, do the research, and then have your competitive advantage. Don't start off with your competitive advantage and then hope the research matches it. Okay? Because that's, again, projecting. I want to be able to say this about my company. You might find out that's not what I'm not going to be able to say about my company. The only thing you might be able to say is the personal experience and quality that I provide is worth every single dollar. Put me to the test. That just might be your competitive advantage. And you probably need, and you might have to, as Mike mentioned, you might have to go less than what you're willing to pay, give them an upfront discount. And remember, we talked about this. If your price is $100 an hour, you put on the invoice $100 an hour, and then scratch the price out, you get the 20% discount for $80 an hour, because you're my new customer. And work with them and let them know that this is good for X amount of months, because it's going back to $100 an hour. So they can't be like, well, I've never seen that. Go back to your first invoice, you'll see $100 and it's scratched out, and that's what it was. So you might have to do that in the beginning to get clients to be able to tell your story. We'll get into this in the marketing, but the biggest thing about competitive advantage is if somebody says it's great and they're speaking on your behalf, if somebody's speaking on your behalf and they say that it's great, word of mouth is the strongest way to communicate, okay? So, word of mouth is always the strongest marketing tool. Y'all ready for the greatest example? Popeye's Chicken.
Right.
They did an analysis. They said that on social media, they earned over $23 million in free advertising because people were doing this Popeyes versus Chick-fil-A versus all the other chicken sandwiches.
The chicken sandwich, who won?
It doesn't matter. Popeyes did.
Popeyes won.
Popeyes won.
Don't matter who won the competition. They won.
It doesn't matter.
Popeyes won because there was one guy who went to one and it was wrapped around the store like 3 times a line, and he couldn't get a sandwich. He had to go somewhere else to a different Popeyes.
They sold out.
But you know what? I was on 301 today, and I drove past that Chick-fil-A, the main one below the church. And I'm looking at them, and Chick-fil-A probably like,
Doesn't matter.
this is Tuesday for us.
This is what we do.
Long lines are normal. Welcome to the big leagues.
They handle those long lines. Popeyes don't handle those long lines.
But again, what would Chick-fil-A say their competitive advantage is, even if Popeye's sandwich is better? Customer service. You're going to get an awesome experience. You're not going to wait forever. And we're still good. Don't pretend like our sandwiches are not good. Our sandwiches are still good. Hey, they might come out with a new one, but it might take you 2 years to taste it because you're going to be standing in line. And so Chick-fil-A has perfected theirs.
Oh, yes.
They grew at a rate that they can handle. They come up with new ways to do these lines all the time. You go to Popeyes. I've been to Popeyes. They've ran out of chicken. Before the sandwiches, they've run out of chicken. Like they have not perfected efficiency at all.
I know, because I was never so. No, that was Kentucky Fried Chicken. It had no chicken wings. I'm like, oh.
So, but here's the deal. Chick-fil-A understands who they are. They said we're only be open 6 days a week.
And I think a lot of people like that, whether it's
no, but from a business standpoint, all right, this is our competitive advantage. Whether it's led by the Lord, that's their mission. Their mission statement doesn't even have the word chicken in it. Look up what it says. It says that they want to be an organization that glorifies God in so many words. That's pretty much what it says. So they made a decision. We're not going to be open on Sundays. If we're not going to be open on Sundays, that means we better squeeze every amount of efficiency out of the 6 days we're open. The only way we're going to squeeze out the efficiency of the 6 days that we're open, we are made up of our customers. We're made up of the people that work for us. So if our people are happy that work for us, they're going to be happy to continue doing the work, and they're going to be good to our customers. So we're going to spend our time training our employees to understand how we operate, how to be the most efficient and the most pleasant at the same time. And every time somebody comes in, are you going to hear it? It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to serve you. I love helping you. I'm going to keep giving you these sandwiches. We're going to keep it rolling. I'm going to ask you for your name. I'm going to walk up to your car. I'm going to be out in the rain. I'm going to do it all so that you will continually come back. Has Popeyes ever done it?
And they ain't planning on it.
But their chicken sandwich is better. And that's what people say. I've never had it.
I just tried it.
I've been doing some research.
You been doing some research? Hilarious.
I'm trying to figure out what restaurant was that where they were having problems with, stealing or whatever. They they were having problems with the cashiers. They made the cashiers the highest paid position in there, and their trouble with stealing went away.
But here's the deal, and a lot of people, this is, as a business owner, you need to understand this. Your organization is people. You're in the people business. Your customers are your employees as well as the clients that walk through your door. And a lot of times you treat your employees like slaves, and you think that the clients are the only ones that are important. And anybody that has that mindset will run down their business. The most important people that you invest in is your people. It's the people that represent what your company is. That's where you spend your most time. You need to hang out with them. You need to train them. You need to make sure that they're compensated properly. You need to make sure they got the proper work-life balance. You need to serve them because they're serving your customers. And you give them the example of how to serve your customers when you serve them. And however you serve them is however they'll serve their customers. Most people say, we were actually talking about this a little bit earlier. How many people said that, man, Prince George's County needs to work on their customer service in these restaurants? How many people would agree with that?
Yes.
How in the world did Chick-fil-A come to Prince George's County and have the same employees and they still provide outstanding service? It's not the people.
And that's
it's
one
the
of the better
owners.
ones.
It's the highest grossing one in Chick-fil-A on 301 in Prince George's County.
The
highest grossing Chick-fil-A in the entire franchise. Everything rises and falls on leadership. So you're telling me that all these people out here are terrible workers? No, you're a terrible leader. And that's why you let your company do whatever they want to do. Don't blame these employees. Blame your leadership. Why are you not training them? Why are you not encouraging them? Why are you not helping them to be better? That's the issue. That's the issue. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And that's why we're here, focusing on how we become better leaders, sharpening our skills, because it doesn't matter what we're given. When we're good leaders, we can take anything and make it great.
It's also written into their policy, though, that their leadership has to be present in the store. They're not absentee leaders.
Absolutely. So you can't ask for a Chick-fil-A and have other businesses going on. You have to be fully dedicated to that Chick-fil-A. So Chick-fil-A requires that their leaders are present and invested in what they're in the new store that they're opening up. They're not just collecting a check. They're not just an investor that's sending money in and they got somebody else running the show. So they set up a model of strong leadership, and that's what works. All right. So any questions around industry analysis? Make sense? All right. So those are two things that we're covering today. Next week we're going to be covering marketing plan and operations inside of your company. If you got friends and stuff that want to catch up, we're going to put this on the app. So they tell your friends to download the app, or you can download the app and go back and look at these sessions if you need to refresh, things of that nature. All right, so that's a picture of the app. It's on the Apple Store as well as Google. So if you want to download our app, you just type in Love's Truth Church and it should pop up. Download it. It's just going to have this logo on it with a white background. That's your download. Also, if this has been helpful for you, we're offering these classes for free. But if you want to, if you think these are good, these things are worthy to be invested in, so that we can continue to do stuff into the community. Our goal is to build a community center, to have these type of classes going all the time. Like we said, we believe in strong leadership. And so we're believing creating these leaders that's going to focus on these areas of faith, families, and finances. So this is how you do it. You can do Cash App, $ Loves Truth. You can go to our website, lovetruth.org. do that, or you can text and give. So if you just type in that number, 240-449-3770, it's just write the word give and $ in the amount. It'll give you the instructions, and then once you do it one time, you can always just do give, whatever amount, it's gonna keep doing it that way. As well, on the app, you can give as well. So that's probably the easiest way. When you download the app, you just click on give. It'll pop up like this, you put in the amount, one time, weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, whatever you wanna do. It's going, and then it'll just keep sending it that way, okay? And so thank you. We'll see you next time. So, quick debrief. How was this? Is this still helpful? Is this working? Is there any adjustments that we need to make as you're writing down your business plan?
Very helpful.
Very, very helpful.
It's good to be here. All right, all right, cool. Oh, well, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Get up.